Yo, what's up, everybody? Once again, it's your boy Brady Bungetty here, and we're with another episode of Bound for Impact. This week, I'll be reviewing the TNA Impact episode with the results from the fallout from Emergence. This episode aired on August 21st, 2025, y'all. So let's get into it. My general opinions is this is an episode that is kind of just putting people in places and positions to continue this road for Bound for Glory, not Bound for Impact. That's this show. But before we get into it, y'all, if you're enjoying the content, if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me, if you want to know whenever one of these episodes is airing, please click like and subscribe. Get that notification bell ringing. So let's just hop right into the episode. We start things off. The TNA champion Trick Williams comes out and he's talking smack about TNA. He says, I wear this title upside down because I turn this brand around upside down. We got the highest gates that y'all ever had since I've been the champion. You guys is on the... He keeps essentially saying they got a TV deal, but he's alluding that there's going to be a TV deal. And then shortly after that, Santana interrupts. And Santana played a part in Trick losing his match to Javon Evans, which was a number one contenders match for the NXT championship on Tuesday for the upcoming NXT PLE, NXT Heatwave. Essentially, Santana was just in the crowd and it distracted Trick. And then Javon Evans was able to capitalize off of that and pin Trick to become the number one contender to face Obafemi at NXT. But this ain't an NXT podcast. We talk about TNA. So then Mike Santana says, you didn't pin me at Slammiversary. And then I start kind of scratching my head because Trick beat Santana in a one-on-one match on NXT. And then, even though he didn't pin Mike Santana at Slammiversary, Santana was in the match and he was a contender. So logically, I say, how does Mike Santana kind of feel like he's entitled to another opportunity at the championship when he's been the contender twice and he's lost twice? Logically, it kind of doesn't make sense. And then a few other things happened that kind of didn't make sense here, other than the fact that they're just trying to set this up for Bound for Glory. So Trick Williams ends up denying Santana another opportunity of at the title. And then Santino's music hits. Santino comes out and says he wants to give Mike Santana another chance. But Trick Williams has some mythological made-up contract that they just kind of made up on the spot that says he can't defend his title for another 50 days, which coincides with the dates for, guess what? Bound for Glory. So, Mike Williams Trick Williams. I can't believe I said Mike Williams. Trick basically, belittles Santana some more. He mentions his family, and then Santana reacts kind of hot-headedly and tries to get to the ring, and Trick runs away. So then after that, we cut to a backstage segment. It's got Gia Miller back there with the Order 4, and Mustafa Ali made a lot of sense here. It feels like all of the heels here make sense, and the baby faces just kind of don't. But he appeals to, what Gia Miller is going through with Tessa. So he says, normally I would address, the citizens of TNA, but right now I'm going to talk to you, Gia. Don't you know how it feels to be disrespected and then you need to fight back, or you got to push back? And Gia, and this really struck a chord with her because of the fallout from Slammiversary and what happened with Tessa, where Tessa attacked her. So Mustafa Ali, once again, making sense. And he says, well, that's how I feel about the system and Matt Cardona. They keep pressing me and disrespecting me. And then he says, I don't trust the system. We all trust in Mustafa Ali, right? So, proceeding on through the show, once again, another backstage promo. Like I said, these TNA episodes are very promo heavy now. You can see the WWE influence all over them. So it's Santino is in the back. He tells Trick that he needs to find a tag team partner for Mike Santana because next week is going to be Trick and AJ Francis versus Mike Santana. So then we actually get into some wrestling here in the TNA Knockouts Gauntlet to determine the number one contender for whoever is the winner of Heat Wave, which is this weekend, and I'm suspecting JC to retain, to be honest, but I kind of have a sneaky suspicion that Ash might win. Who knows? I guess we'll find out the results soon. So there's the Knockouts Gauntlet, and the number one, they did something that I really kind of liked here. Before there was an entrance, there's a little backstage video vignette that popped up as they were entering, and the first contestant was Zaya Brookside, and she said, I gotta go through the gauntlet. I'm entering at number one, but hey, this is an opportunity to prove myself. So number two was Killer Kelly, and she starts out, she's speaking in Portuguese. I think she said that she's number two, and she didn't come to TNA just to kind of be another body in the Knockouts division. She wants to make a push for this title. So it starts off, and this was a pretty good match altogether, all around, but they actually let them go for a while. I think the timeline of this was like around 30 minutes, so there was some actual wrestling getting it in for this Knockouts Gauntlet. So the first two contestants, like I said, is Zaya Brookside and Killer Kelly, and essentially Zaya Brookside, she hit her with a tilt-a-whirl or a Hurricane Rana, and I'm sorry, I got my notes mixed up, but she ends up hitting Killer Kelly with the broken wings. 1, 2, 3. The next contestant is is DANI LUNA. So DANI LUNA is wrestling against a winded Zaya Brookside. Zaya Brookside was showing a lot of good technical skills in this match. It was pretty fun. I would like to see these two knockouts from the UK maybe get into a little bit of a program, because this was pretty impressive to start it out. As for the finish, Zaya Brookside tried to go with the broken wings again, but then she got kind of countered, and DANI LUNA hit a Luna landing, and that was it for Zaya Brookside. DANI LUNA's Luna landing finisher is fantastic. She's just, she's a true powerhouse in the Knockouts division. And in ring, she's always been talented. But like I said, after my Emergence review, one of the most interesting things that I thought to emerge from Emergence was DANI LUNA. So the next opponent for DANI LUNA was Rosemary, and Rosemary, she kind of gets her licks in. She tried to do the upside down. She got her in the upside down. Then she tried to do the as above, so below, and DANI LUNA was able to escape, and then boom, another Luna landing. So DANI LUNA won back-to-back matches in this gauntlet. And then the music hits, and Indy Hartwell is Danny Luna's next challenger. And, Danny Luna's been in the ring for a while. She's a little winded. They have a friendship that, they've been exploring. Danny wanted to form a tag team with Indy. Indy was like, nah, I'm after that knockouts goal. We do make a good team. So Indy hit Danny with a spine buster, and then Danny, when she tried to hit Danny once again with Hurt's donut. And I kind of went in on the last episode on Hurt's donut, and I think they might have listened to it, because this one was countered again by Danny, and then Danny does a roll up, and Indy counters her roll up and with a roll up of her own, and then it's the 1, 2, 3. So Indy Hartwell defeats Danny Luna, and this is where the things get entertaining. Danny Luna is frustrated. You can see it all over her face. She's getting angry. So she gets up and she attacks Indy Hartwell. She's beating and pummeling Indy Hartwell. Then the number 6 contestant comes in, and it's Jody Threat. So Danny Luna meets Jody on the ramp, and she says, hey, I attacked Indy for you. You got a weakened opponent. Go handle that business, right? And Jody Threat doesn't like this. She's like, nah, Danny, what's wrong with you? You tripping a little bit. So then Danny Luna returns to the ring, and she grabs a steel chair. She goes up to Jody Threat. She's telling Jody Threat, listen, just handle this business. Handle this business, defeat Indy, and you're the number 1 contender. So essentially what happens is Jody Threat ain't with that. She wants a fair match. She wants to really prove who should be the number 1 contender. So Danny Luna, with frustration, she hits Jody Threat with a chair. Now, this is the thing that Danny Luna looked like she kind of never won a chair or used a chair in her life with this. Outside of all of that, though, this is a great heel turn. So she's pummeling Jody Threat. Security comes in, and then I don't know who this brother is, who he is in security, but she hit him with a clothesline. It looked like a JBL exclusive. It was a special. This boy sold that clothesline. He sold it so well, man. I was like, woo. And Danny Luna clotheslined this brother so hard that her eyelash fall off. Like it was pretty intense. So after that, it was announced by Mackenzie Mitchell that Jody Threat is the one who wins the Knockouts Gauntlet due to disqualification, because she was the one that Danny Luna attacked first. So, this will set up a program for Jody Threat, maybe for Victory Road. I think that's the next TNA Plus show. Victory Road in Edmonton. It makes sense. She's Canadian. So whoever is the winner of the matchup from NXT Heatwave probably has just a defense against Jody Threat for Victory Road, which is cool. It gives Jody Threat something to do. She's been kind of in limbo since Spitfire's broken up too. So this kind of solves both problems with them. This is probably one of the most exciting things. The result of this is that Danny Luna is making a heel turn and potentially a push. So let's see what comes of this. I'm excited about this. So then after that, there was kind of a backstage promo with the Inspiration. They kept saying that they got their eyes set out on the TNA Knockout titles. Essentially they say that the Elegance brand cheated to win their matchup and they want a shot. So then they're interrupted by Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley of Fatal Influence. And Fatal Influence just kind of say, listen, y'all ain't all that. NXT is the superior brand. That's why we're winning all your titles, yada, yada, yada. So it sets up a matchup for next week. The Inspiration versus Fatal Influence. Fatal Influence ain't gonna win. But this will also kind of get the Inspiration back on track. They've lost a few of these these knockouts tag team championship matches, and unlike the Mike Santana thing, they kind of should work their way back up to it, right? So also backstage, Danny Luna is kind of explains, listen, I'm not getting what I deserve, so that's why I'm bugging on everyone right now. And you know what? Go get it, Danny. Go get it. I applaud of these efforts. Next, I don't even know if I should mention this, but it draws heat. It's Ryan Nemeth came out and he just says his big brother returns in 2 weeks. So, okay, we waiting for Nick to come back, because he always leaves and comes back and leaves and comes back. Next on the docket, one of my favorite things of this match or of this week's episode was this match between Frankie Kazarian and Jake something. And maybe I was just kind of going through Frankie withdrawals. He hasn't been in the ring much often the past recent months. He seemed to have been stuck in limbo, and it looks like they're going to try and set him up for an international championship match with Steve Macklin. But before this, there was a little altercation between Frankie Kazarian and Jake something last week, and Frankie said, let's settle it in the ring. So they go one-on-one. Jake something is, putting his strength on a display. He hit Frankie with a really good clothesline. He did a power slam, but Frankie be balling in the ring. I love when he hits people with those springboard leg drops, and all these other moves. Jake something kicked out after their springboard leg drop at 1. He's ultimate warrioring it up, you know what I mean? And he hit Frankie with a pretty sick power bomb. But it just wasn't enough. Frankie kind of exposed the turnbuckle. He hit Jake something. He used Jake something's momentum and kind of directed him into that exposed turnbuckle. Hit Jake something with the fade to black, and your victory is Frankie Kazarian. Then, once again, another backstage promo. We have Mara Sade interacting with the Hardys. She's an artist. She had an easel, and there's a drawing that they didn't show because it's probably just a blank canvas. And, her and Jeff connect over there, share their love for art, right? They're both artists. This is just foreshadowing events that I'll probably dive into a little bit later. Then more backstage stuff happens as Leon Slater is in the back with his X Division Championship. He's approached by Cedric Alexander, and Cedric Alexander's like, hey, remember what we talked about after, our match with it, at Emergence, and we should team up. So Cedric Alexander said he went and got them a match, and Leon Slater is excited at first. He's like, yeah, word, against who? And then Cedric Alexander says the Hardy Boys. And with Leon Slater's relationship with the Hardys, he was kind of taken aback by that. You could tell in his head, he's like, man, I don't really want to wrestle my mentors, but at the same time, I get to see what I got. Leon Slater, this guy, I can't wax poetic enough about him. His promo skills are great. His acting is great. Like, his face shows every emotion that he's trying to convey. And in the ring, we all know what he can do. So this is a cool little backstage vignette, and I think that will be the main event for next week's episode of Impact. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. More backstage happens, and Steve Macklin just kind of approaches Santino and says, "Hey, I hold the line for TNA. Santino, let me be the one that teams up with Mike Santana to go against Trick and AJ Francis." And Santino's like, "Yeah, you're exactly who I had in mind. Problem solved." So now we get to go into a in-ring promo as the TNA Knockouts champion, the one who I highly rate. I highly rated her before WWE fans did. JC Jane makes her way to the ring, and she's approaching NXT Heatwave. She's talking about how she's got to wrestle Masha Slamovich for the 10th time already, and which is about right. Nah. But and then she says, Ash by Elegance is whatever. And she's cutting a promo basically saying, listen, there's no TNA knockout that's on her level, which outside of Masha, I would probably agree with that. Everyone in TNA is hoping to win their dear title back. And, then here's where this takes a turn. And I've seen the internet wrestling community kind of torn on this one. Ash by Elegance interrupts, and she says, she interrupts, and people that like Ash by Elegance really like this promo. I'm someone who I liked it because it shows a merger of her character being serious, right? But also maintaining that arrogant, elegant branding, right? So she comes out. She calls JC Jane an attention whore. She says everyone should be talking about her. And then she gives off a list of accomplishments, which they are pretty impressive in the grand scheme of life. You know what I mean? So she's like, I'm a 15-time WWE champion. She's referencing her 24/7 championships. She's a current 3-time champion, where she's a Knockouts tag team champion. I think she beat Lena Cross for a championship in Australia, and I don't really know what the third one is. I probably should have researched that before I talked about it, but it's true. And she talks about her fitness, how she's a fitness competitor, and all of these other things. So she's well accomplished in life, right? But then she goes in and she belittles JC, saying, what, you have 2 titles? And it's like, JC's like, yeah, these are 2 titles that you never had and you'll never get, right? So then she calls Masha out of her name. So then Masha comes down and, she says, Timu, she calls Ash Timu Britney Spears, and she calls JC emo Katy Perry, which was kind of funny, right? So this just kind of shows a face off. I think Masha might have promised victory as well, and they face off at NXT Heatwave. Sunday is gonna be, is it Sunday? I gotta figure out which day it is. But whichever day Heat Wave airs, also is, I think is the same day that AEW airs, and your boy might cross the line to the forbidden door. So we'll keep you updated with that. Let's see. If I get the time, I might review Forbidden Door AEW. I know that people in the internet wrestling communities like you gotta pick a side. It's either the WWE, TNA, AAA, or the AEW, CMLL. Listen, I like all of it. If it's good, I'm the consumer. I'm in control of how I want to consume. If I find it good, I'll like it. I'm not loyal to these companies. These companies are just companies. Where is the best wrestling at? Where is the best entertainment at? Right? So sorry about that tangent, but once again, we go backstage. And this is, more set up for next week, which is fine. I am anticipating next week. I think it should be a good show based off of what have been hinted and teased on this week's episode. Backstage, it's the Great Hands and Tasha Steelz. They're kind of making fun of Mara Sade's art, right? And then Mara Sade comes in and confronts Tasha and says, hey, I want a match next week. So that's going to be an interesting match. We haven't seen Tasha in the ring much often this year. I'm excited to see her back in the ring. It shows really the strength of this Knockouts division where Jody Threat was in limbo. Rosemary's been in limbo. Tasha Steelz has always had a presence on TV, but she hasn't been wrestling much. And, I'm excited to see this one. I assume this is a first time ever match. We got two sisters going at it. Let's get it. So it carries on as we continue backstage. You know what I mean? Eric Young approaches Myron Reed. He says, listen, there's going to be a cleansing here. You want to be on the right side of this. And Myron Reed is kind of like, bro, what are you talking about? And essentially, Zachary Wentz comes and says, hey, Myron, what's going on here? He's like, nothing. Eric Young just running at the mouth. But listen, let's have a match next week. So they're going to be going at it next week. So here we go. The main event for tonight. And listen, I'm going to keep it real straight up. This is a banger. Absolute banger. We've been waiting for Order 4 versus the System in some sort of way. Last time we were supposed to see Order 4 versus the System, Dark State jumped the System before this match could even pop off. This time we actually get the match. So it's going to be Moose, Brian Myers, and Matt Cardona isn't in the System, but right now he's heavily affiliated with the System and taking on Mustafa Ali and the Great Hands, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler of the Order 4. So this was a pretty fast-paced match. Moose started off power bombing Jason Hotch over the top rope onto John Schuyler and Mustafa Ali outside. There's just a lot of good things. I'll tell you what, ever since Moose has become a face, they've really allowed him to show his stuff. He hits Mustafa Ali with the go to hell. It's like for some reason, they wouldn't let him do that move, or he wasn't doing it as a heel. Now that it's back in his arsenal, it used to be his finisher, and it's a pretty sick move the way he does it. But hits him with a go to hell. Mustafa Ali kicks out at 2. One of the moves that I really liked is that Hotch and Mustafa Ali both did that kind of roll through the apron neck breaker move. That joint is pretty sick. They hit man, I don't my notes are a little sloppy. They hit one of the two or one of the three with that move. Obviously, you know, things get heated. Match spills to the outside. Tasha Steeles is always going to get involved, right? This is how the Order 4 works. Tasha and Alicia got into it. After Tasha hit Alicia, Eddie Edwards tried to come out. Eddie Edwards got booted by my man Bill Collier, aka Agent Zero, and then Mustafa Ali hit Brian Myers with a low blow, and then the Great Hands, John Schuyler picks him up. They hit him with their finisher. I think it's called the Favor. Did anyone? I don't know, but I believe it's called the Favor. If I heard Hannafin correctly, I don't know why I've never really known what that move was called, but yeah. So then after the match, you know, the Order 4 continue to beat up on Cardona and the rest of the system. JDC came out, and I don't know if he drank was that Johnny Damon drink that that sponsors TNA now. I forgot what it was, but I don't know if he just had a big gulp of that afterwards. But this boy JDC came out snapping out. He hit a somersault dive off of the top rope on everyone. But then, you know, shortly after that, the X Factor of the Order 4, my man Agent Zero, hit him with that double choke slam onto the chair and forced Moose to watch in front of his hometown crowd. So once again, your boy was right. I said about a month ago, ever since the Tasha Steeles was revealed to be the mastermind behind the Order 4, I said TNA has to book them strong. And you know, they're dang. What was that? Jason Hotch has gained a lot of momentum this year. So you're carrying the momentum from Jason Hotch. You're giving the Great Hands more to do instead of being just jobbers, right? And you know, the Order 4 seems like a focused, cohesive unit. Much kind of like how the system was last year until they kind of started losing every match. People got tired of them, really. So I feel like Order 4, they have a purpose. It's clear and concise. It isn't just, hey, we're going to dominate TNA and win all of the titles. It's like, listen, Mustafa Ali has this campaign where he wants to make TNA great again, essentially. And he feels like he's the leader for this. And he might just be the right man for the job. But once again, it was a great episode. If you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe, comment. You know, this is a work in progress. You know, I'm just having fun. I'm having fun talking about TNA. So once again, please like and subscribe, and you know, join in the comments. Let me know what you think. And this is your boy Brady Bungetti signing off, and I'll be back pretty soon. So holla at your boy. Thank you guys.